Oh wow. Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. I'm back at it again for a brand new movie review, y'all. Dare I say contender for one of the better films I've seen in 2015. The name of this movie is called The Bridge of Spies. It's a huge cast, but at the same time, it's not a notable cast. Like, one of the biggest people, of course, is Tom Hanks, like one of the best actors of this generation, for sure. But there's a lot of surprises because you got actors such as Mark Rayleigh that plays the role of Rudolph Abel. He does an amazing job. You've got Alan Alda. You've got who else that you can kind of recognize? I would say that Jesse Plemons, who was actually in Johnny Depp's new movie Black Mass, who basically got, in my opinion, his start-off role as Todd in Breaking Bad. He was actually in this one playing Joe Murray. And then you've got Austin Stowell that's playing Francis Powers. And there's a lot of people that are not well renowned, but the scope of this movie, y'all, it was amazing. I mean, just visually, like, there are moments where, like, most of this movie takes place in the 1940s, 1950s, and when they take you to, like, Brooklyn, New York, for instance, I just went to New York. I tell you that they spent some time shooting this, because every single block that I was in when I was in Brooklyn, it looks like an older version of it from the direct. The way that they kind of like staged everything, I'm not sure if they actually took real street corners in New York, in Berlin, and all these different locations that they've shot this movie at, and actually, you know, made them refortify to seem as though they were older, but they spent some time with it, from the vehicles to the imagery to every single set piece where they were at. Like, it was shot beautifully. The cinematography, y'all, like, to me, like, this, it wasn't anything revolutionary as far as the cinematography is concerned, but it was staged so well, from segments where you have the main character with Tom Hanks. When I first see him, he's actually in the middle of negotiations with a client, or not a client, but the opposition about a client. And I was like, man, this is a good depiction of his character, straight off just the way the setting and everything was. But every single shot, they pay attention to the eye perspective, to the interactions, especially between Tom Hanks and Mark Rayleigh. Like, their dynamics together is captured well on camera, and then the cinematography is a scope. Like, when they're going in Berlin, when they go and show like the actual Berlin Wall between the east versus the west side, like, I was riveted, because there was one segment where I don't know if you know the actual history behind it, but somebody was trying to make a break for the wall and they didn't make it, and Tom Hanks' character saw it, and it was captured so well from the train that he was looking at it when he was over in Berlin. And then it shows back a little bit later on when he's back at home, and it's kind of on the subway of like his home in New York, and it kind of puts into perspective, like, what are the psychological influences on this movie, not just for the character Donovan that Tom Hanks is actually playing, but us as Americans. Because to me, I came out of this movie on a visual level looking at it like, wow, like, we have no idea. Even back then in the 50s versus even now, like, we have so much more privileges, so many more things that we're privy to that they weren't even, you know, back then. And it's like, it shows the history of how many people were oppressed overseas through war, through the Cold War, and it was done really well. Because to me, when I came out of it, I was like, man, I'm happy and proud to not only be American, but at the same time that we have, you know, relations with different internationals. Like, because the way the relationship goes as far as with Donovan and Abel, that in and of itself is well acted, but the imagery behind it is just it's so well put together. Because there are so many times that I'm looking at Abel, and like I said, I'm gonna go into the acting in this. The visuals, I'll say I give it a 9 out of 10. I actually really love the visuals. I really love the score. The score was just so eloquently done throughout most of the entire movie. But the acting between Tom Hanks and Mark Rayleigh was just amazing. I think, dare I say, Rayleigh actually, I haven't seen a character like him, because the whole entire movie, and even after, like, I'm like, do I consider this guy a good guy? Do I consider this guy a torture guy? Or do I consider this guy, you know, an enemy? You know, and I mean, even like his reactions and interaction stuff, like he moves like a spy. There are attention to detail. He just goes. He loves painting canvases. He loves going and pay attention to detail. But the whole entire time, the most of the movie, he's just nonchalantly calm. And Tom Hanks' character is like, why are you so calm? You're like, would it help for me to freak out? You know, and he keeps on going back to that. But the dynamics and the symmetry behind the relationship, it grows both of them. Because one of the things that Abel has said to Donovan, he was basically like, there was a guy that his dad had told him to pay attention to when he was a lot younger. And the guy really wasn't much of anything, you know. And he just kind of stood the same kind of way that Tom Hanks' character stays. Until one day their house got raided and people were attacking them, and this man kept on getting beaten, but for some exact same reason, he would stand up the same exact way he normally would and kept on getting beaten, and they'd get hit hard. And just the way that the storytelling goes with this one, the writing was just, it was awesome. Like, it was really good writing. It was really well produced, but Steven Spielberg is rare to form in this one because this movie has this feeling of like how the older 90s espionage movie was. I have not seen Tinker Toy Soldier with Gary Oldman and the all-star cast like Tom Hardy, but I kind of feel like this is probably something that would be connected kind of like this or comparable. I think I actually want to go and watch that just because I love the way that this movie feels like a spy movie, but really at heart is showing what a man's willingness to do, not just for his country, but for somebody else that he doesn't even know. And like, it was just really well acted from all the way around the board. I think that there were moments where some people didn't get to shine as much. I mean, I think Donovan's family, or Tom Hanks' family that was portrayed in this one, I think that towards the end I was kind of like more for it. I mean, especially kind of the wife. I knew where she was kind of coming from because basically surrounding the story, this guy who's just a normal lawyer is taking the case of somebody that is considered a traitor, not just to their own country, but they're a foreign spy. And so, like, I mean, taking potential secrets to the Soviets. And so, Tom Hanks' character even didn't want to take the case, first of all. And then when he finally did meet the guy, he was so professional. One of the things I think I really loved about this is one of the most professional lawyer depictions I've seen since A Time to Kill with Samuel Jackson and it's his name. I always forget his name. Matthew McConaughey. It really was comparable in a lot of different ways because I was thinking to myself, I was like, this dude's a Soviet spy. Like, I was like, they're gonna fry him. They're gonna try to hang him, you know, especially in the time and in the generation. But the way and the lengths that Tom Hanks' character goes, it's done really well. It's acted well, executed well. So I guess for the acting, I'll give the acting like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it could have been a little bit better on the side with the family, especially the wife. Maybe somebody could have been like casted a little bit better for those specific moments, you know, especially early on when he's taking the case up and doing what he has to do. But generally everybody involved, it was like, it didn't depend on just one set acting from Tom Hanks' character. That exemplified the movie and that made the movie more deep, but it was the surrounding nature of everything that was happening in the environment because the world was getting affected. The United States was getting affected by this man taking the side and trying to defend this spy because everybody wanted to break protocol. And it was like, it didn't matter what lawfulness meant versus taking action. And like, one of the things, like I said, that Tom Hanks' character was one of the most professional lawyers I've ever seen. Like, his bounds of doing the right thing superseded any kind of corruption I've seen with, I guess, the cinematic level of how they treat lawyers, you know. And he stood for the Constitution. He stood for what's right and what's wrong. And even going out of his way to do the right thing basically could have had him killed in a lot of different moments in this movie. But the story was just done so well from the beginning, especially to the middle, which was really tense. I was like, the only reason why I kind of felt like the movie was going to go further is because of the trailer. The trailer showed me a lot of stuff that was going on in the Berlin, a lot of things that were going on with the Soviets and stuff like that. If I had never seen the trailer, I kid you not, I felt like the movie was going to end in the United States in a certain kind of way. And this is a non-spoiler review, so I'm not going to kind of reveal what I mean by that. But all I can say is from the start to the very end, their relationship makes a big bulk of the movie, the reason why I love this. But then his professionalism, his character, his vigor, not just his likability, but just as a prospect of being someone that is American, is representing somebody that's not, and in the way that he really lifts up America just in his stance for doing the right thing. Because a lot of the things that he handled, and the way he handled the case, and even like his aptitude and his smartness of, okay, you need to realize the big picture with this. If we handle it this way, we will be dictated as a nation this way. But I think one of the moments that I did really like in the story is that, I think with the son was really, I think in my opinion, traumatized from like seeing some things that he saw in the school in relation to like atom bomb and stuff that could have happened. And even as well as like the scope of the CG in this one. The CG when it came to like the stealth pilot stuff, the stuff that was going on overseas. Like there was a sequence where there was a pilot in the air and I was like, man, this is some really good CG. So they utilized, when CG was there, it was amazing. When it was practical effects and location, they shot it well. But then the cinematography and the story, it all made up to be one of the better pictures I've seen this year. I mean, I think that this, in my opinion, is a continuer with The Martian as being one of the best movies this year, as well as Mad Max. So I think those are my top 3 movies this year. So as far as a whole, what do I give this movie as a whole? I give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was amazing. Highly recommend you go check it out. If y'all would like me to do a spoiler review, I can leave it in the comment section below if you do. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this review. Leave a like below if you actually did. I got a lot more things to come. I really wanted to work on my New York Comic Con footage, but I got a lot of stuff that I have to do, unfortunately. And as well, I actually got an Xbox new preview dashboard video that I'm going to be creating very soon as well. But hopefully you enjoyed this. Leave any comments you have below, and y'all have a blessed one. SEL0320 representing JVS. I'm out. Woo woo! I'm a spy.